Roger, is there I didn't talk about recording. Yeah. Okay. So, it's our general policy not to. Just so you know. Okay. If we were to record, then we'd have a transcriptionist, you know, yeah, just like in court. So.
All right.
So I just talked to Altz yesterday. Do you know Altz? Albert?
The football coach?
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. Because he's talking about getting dual citizenship.
Oh, okay.
And the challenges he's facing with that. So, okay, let me transfer my thoughts here. Last night we're going to talk about
Sure. So, thanks for meeting today. Basically, what I wanted us to be able to try and come to some kind of consensus on today was, I know you were uncomfortable with the way the last meeting turned out, particularly with my presence in the meeting, and I read through the email, as did John. And so I wanted to try to talk with you to say, what can I or we do to make you feel more comfortable as we move forward? I want to make one thing clear. This is in no way a disciplinary hearing or action or anything. This conversation or the conversation with Mike, this is a mediation to try to make the situation better for both of you.
Yeah, the relationship.
And to put some boundaries around it so that when, let's say that we put something in place and Mike violates it, you have the ability to come to us and say, this was the agreement, this is what happened, I need to take further action now because I can't proceed this way, and vice versa. And so you both have those boundaries very, very clear. But this is in no way any kind of disciplinary hearing. And I got the impression from the email that you may have thought that. You're not up for any kind of, any disciplinary action, neither is Mike. So what can I do or what can we do to make you feel more comfortable as you move forward in this process so that you don't feel the way you did when you left last time?
I really haven't felt like it's a fair hearing yet. I mean, the only fair hearings I got in the grievance procedure, and they really saw that things are wrong, and they were overruled every single time. So I feel like, okay, you know, that nobody really seems to be interested in addressing what's wrong. It's very quick to point fingers, and I am so sorry that I reported one student's complaint. Because for me, everything got on hold. I had a really good career here. I worked very hard for it.
And I wouldn't give up just yet. You know, I wanted to, you know, I said, I think you were on the email where I said I want to bring up the mentoring and the teaching the graduate course. I want to talk about that some mediation as well.
Absolutely.
These are kind of new developments.
Okay.
I have an email from Valerie Starkman where it was also made clear in her email that I was her mentor.
Okay.
And
I
started mentoring her actually she asked me on next, you know, committees she has to serve. She forwarded to me and asked me what you recommend. And I just laughed and said, well, you know, basically I'll let Mike know that I'm already on a clock here. So he knew.
Okay.
I didn't have a problem with it.
So I think we have some trust issues, and that we really need to repair this relationship because I think both Sabina and Mike bring a lot of value to the table. And I don't know how we can go about doing that yet. I've had good luck with Jennifer in mediation working on these things. And so I would like her to be there.
I just felt, he felt empowered afterwards. I mean, I sent him a nice email after his surgery, no reply. I asked about the curriculum, just found out that next spring I am teaching 2 undergrad courses, 2 lower undergrad courses, while my junior faculty teach higher courses than me, and even junior staff members teach higher courses than me. The one course that I think are especially suited for is comparative criminal justice system. Among other things, we discussed the German police system. That's where it works, okay? Kaywood, because he was mad at me for the whole student thing, he assigned it to our most junior staff member who's never left Wisconsin, right? She was my seminar student. And he knew that I wanted the class, that's why he didn't give it to me. I taught it last spring after I asked Mike, and he was kind of hesitant to give it to me because he didn't want Cecil to be upset and all that. I said, well, okay, she's doing the staff. So in the end, when he asked her, she said, I don't really want to teach it anyway. So I got it. 2015, it's back to then at Cecil. Okay. If that doesn't show, to me, it shows that somebody is mad at me and is getting even. That's just my opinion. That's how I see it. And it's not going to end. It'll continue. And, something like this weakens my stand in the department. That's because it takes respect away from that I have. There are searches going on. I don't think I want to chair a single search, not with that being put down in front of my peers.
Well, I think part of the mediation process is to try to get some of these things out on the table with Mike, and then for us to be able to lay out some terms and conditions that you both can agree to. And then when you feel when you feel as if they're not being followed, you have some teeth to be able to come to us to say, this is what we agreed to, and Mike's not following the agreement. However, when we go into that meeting, what I want you to feel comfortable with is to know that I am there as an advocate for you as well as Mike to hear both sides of the story and to come up with the best plan, but in no way, shape, or form are John or I interested in any kind of disciplinary hearing. And I want you to feel comfortable with my presence there and not feel like I'm coming in against you as you walk in the door, because that was not my intention as we went into that meeting, and I apologize if you left feeling that way. I want you to feel as empowered after that meeting as Mike feels. I want you both to feel like you understand what needs to happen in order to do business well. And
I just don't want to have any more. I got called in his office, he closed the door to rip me a new one. I've never had this happening. I can track it back. It had to do with, he was he wanted Valerie Stackman. He arranged to meet with a friend of his who runs Twin Pines, an apartment complex. He actually told me...
Oh, I remember this now, okay,
yeah.
All right.
That's it. My husband's a realtor, and she asked him once before, he doesn't get any money for it. I told him, stay out of it, and he says, well, it's kind of weird, it's my job, but okay, I stay out of it, you requested it. Well, Valerie Starkman went with Southwest Place instead. He assumed I had something to do with it. He called me and he says, for one day he was totally mad at me. He put down a student who just needed a signature for a pay budget from him. It was very, very harsh how he treated her. And he knew that we were working on this. And next day he came in, I just put my head in, is everything okay? And he says, you gotta talk, we gotta talk, and come in and close the door. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, in my position now, I've got a lot of things, first woman in federal law enforcement ever, we hear a lot of bad stuff. I'm done with that. And I'm at a point where hey, he wants to give me a dog because it's fine. He wants to keep me from everything that's prestigious, like all the stuff that I'm qualified for, best qualified for. Okay, I have a daughter here who is a freshman student. She has high functioning autism. She's doing really well here. I don't see the bullying stop and attack her. I'm just very concerned. When she was 6 years old, she was bullied so bad in school, they had to later take her out. She was suicidal. I just don't want to ever go through that again. Mm-hmm. I don't know what else people are willing to do.
Is she getting bullied here?
I wouldn't say that it would stop to get even with me. I'm just not confident anymore.
I see.
And she likes it here, unfortunately. I wanted her to go somewhere else. But she's known as my daughter so far. She's doing well. She has Terry Burns as her advisor, who really has been wonderful. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Kayla's son had to be escorted off campus by police. I don't know what people are willing to do.
That's not actually true.
That's what Aleki told me.
No, it's not correct.
Okay.
That's not true.
Yeah, because
I was there.
We were there.
Okay.
Both of us were there.
Well, I'm glad, because it worried me a little bit with Laneke
No.
with making threats to come to our house.
No,
And because of that, I've been a little on edge, you know.
I can tell you that, to Eli's credit, when he was let go, it was a situation, he handled it extremely professionally. It's been nothing but professional.
I'm glad to hear that, because I know him on a private level. I know Catherine.
He's been,
There was one little issue, but it was accidental, and he
Yeah.
took care of it
It was
immediately
great.
when he brought it to his attention.
Yeah.
No, he handled it very professionally.
here's what I'd like to offer to you.
And I want,
Good.
we actually tried to do it in such a way that we could help preserve his career in the Army.
Yeah,
That's good.
You know,
absolutely.
we tried to do it in a way that, so.
Because I didn't think he had anything to do with it.
I can't say much more than
Yeah,
that, but
that's fine.
I
I
was
never
trying
had
to
any
look out for
problems
him.
with him. Yeah.
So here's what I'd like to offer to you, but I want us to make sure that, I want to make sure that you feel comfortable with this as we go forward. I know that there have been a lot of wrongs in the past, and I've read the emails that you sent previously. I've heard them from you now a few times. I know there's more than what I've heard. We want to help you feel more comfortable here, and then give you some tools so that if the situation takes a turn, if you get called in behind a closed door and get screamed at, if you feel that there's repercussions on your daughter, if you feel like you're not getting assignments that are appropriate to your level, we can help you rectify those situations through a mediation and an agreement. It's the first step we have to take before we can take any other step. What I wanted to accomplish today with you is to make sure that as we move forward with that you feel comfortable with my presence in the room, because I know you felt uncomfortable last time. And all I can offer you is my promise in that I will be here to protect you and to put those boundaries in place for you. I'll also help Mike to understand the boundaries as well. That's part of the mediation process. And if this starts to go south, I will be there to make sure that we take the appropriate steps to correct the action, and from anywhere from correction to dismissal and anything in between that needs to occur if this should be inappropriate. In a best case scenario, the mediation works. The boundaries are adhered to. You have a more peaceful existence here, and you're less stressed in your work environment. But I want to make sure that you know that I want you to be comfortable, and if I'm making you uncomfortable, if I have made you uncomfortable, then I will correct my behavior so that stops, so that we can move forward.
I look at mediation, absolutely what you said,
Okay.
but the middle piece is that it has to be a safe place for communication.
Absolutely.
Where you bring two parties together who are no longer able to communicate into a place where communication can be safe. You know, and we have basically a ref in between, a referee in between, to allow that communication to take place, because I still in my heart of hearts believe that you and Mike should not be on opposite sides. I think you guys have the same goals long term for the department. And I think this is a tragic place we've ended up in. And as far as sexual discrimination, gender discrimination, it's not okay with either of us. I mean, we're taking those things very seriously. I've already had an informal conversation with Mike about the graduate course issue. So, I mean, I didn't push for it for this semester, because I knew we lost 2 faculty members. So I didn't bring it up there. So I really thought, like, okay, it's spring, and this is a course that Dr. Fuller had me develop and asked me repeatedly, but I need to know that you will teach this course. And for health reasons right now, I can't teach overload. I've done it non-stop since I started here. I've taken on directed studies with students that I wasn't paid for, and this is just worrying me out too much. This is just, for me, emotional roller coaster, and I need to be there for my family too. I've had a lot of bad news from home, and Sorry.
It's, and this is family, it's part of life, but when this all comes, and even though I opposed Leckie's nomination in the beginning, because I really felt reading the bylaws, reading the Constitution, reading Wisconsin state law, that it wasn't properly done. Like, he's still the chair, and I respected that. I just wanted to make it vocal that, especially since he was recommended by Kaywood, and get an email, phone call that, he will put you in place. That's not exactly setting making a good start. But then he was there, and I worked for him, and I worked as best as I could. If you look at Dr. Fuller had chaired a search and screen, and she failed her fourth one. I chaired 2 so far, and I produced 3 candidates. I worked very, very hard on that. One was Valerie Stackman. She didn't want to apply here. I got her back because Cable really did a number on her last time she was here. Yeah, she's very good. I knew she would be good for this department, and that's why I pursued her. And kind of like also in a way with all the candidates, I wanted to have, in the end we had really 4 people that we could have pulled for. So I don't know what chairs always. Search is always chair, but I had an idea with him that I printed out for him a plan, how to be more efficient in classes, since we have such, we're growing so much. I did everything I could to be supportive of him. I took his side when he was attacked by department members where they said he didn't count the votes properly. I took his side then. I supported him when he had issues with Gibson, not because I wanted to get even with, I think I had a different agenda with Gibson he had. It was a little bit because Gibson kind of wanted to be chair too and the whole thing. I just did what I felt I could, so what I can stand behind. I feel like this is the criminal justice department. There was a very personal reason I chose this career. I had, I have relatives who died in a concentration camp and all that. So that was what originally caused me to kind of choose this line. So I have a very, very strong belief in justice for everyone. And when I see it kind of violate over and over, people don't take it seriously. And with Kaywood, the FERPA thing, I didn't push it either. That's not new that he violated it. Yeah. But it kept going on and on. I mentioned it to Dalecki once. You shouldn't do that. Nothing happened. It's students out there, students being upset. Yeah. Okay. It just feels like I'm a senior faculty member. I should be able to bring these things up.
Indeed. Indeed. And that when I heard of it, I took care of it immediately. Yeah. So I want you to feel like you have some support. Nobody in the administration is conspiring against you. They can't get to us. And they just can't. I don't care. And
I'm sorry with the email. I know that I sent out with Dutel and Johnson, but you know what? You read those 2 reports written about it. I call it a train wreck, where we had experts come in and all that, and where students were hired almost exclusively for FI. And then we have the one former staff member, she was kicked out because Dutel couldn't work with her, and then our last 2, and they left, and we're left with all these students, nobody to take care of. I'm a mom of a student too. That upset me greatly. Right. And I was supposed to be in the department. I said, we need somebody looking into this. I don't think this is done right. And I was upset when I wrote it. I really was. And also, like, these 2 people were not very fair department members. They were very arrogant, didn't work well. Dutel had his own agenda. He suppressed anybody else who wanted to come up. And I came through. I was just, no, I'm not wishing you well. I'm sorry. That's kind of, in this regard, maybe too honest.
I'd be frustrated
but when I was put in place, and when you read all the other emails, when Kaywood kind of spoke up against Dalecki, when Gibson did, when Rex Reed blamed him of falsifying, votes and all that, and it wasn't addressed as, you shouldn't do this to everyone, and I do something that wasn't even against him. He could have said like, hey, no, good, I will probably then, send a follow-up, hey, sorry for being so emotional, so angry, and we'll make this work. But it didn't get that opportunity. And already half a week spent in the department because of all what Kaywood did. And then I just said, look, okay, if you want to play this game, I'll let you know what you did. You threatened me there, and I think what happened with Valerie wasn't fair. And he didn't take that well. But honestly, I had it. I had up to here. With Cable, the entire time I kept it quiet and never went around. I never sent emails out ever to the department. So this is my 3rd year of this stuff now. I'm just worn out. It's not like that I took overload for this department, not because I needed the money, it's because we're short on staff. And then directed studies up to 5 a year, you're not getting paid for it.
That's right.
And I have over 70 advisees. You know, Evan Larson's a good friend of mine. He has 8.
You have 70?
I have over 70. He has 8, and I'm supposed to do scholarly work. I had over 80 before when Elmer's was sick or so, and it all happens. Now I thought like, oh man, 2 leaving, I probably end up at least 80. That wears me out. I think advising awards should always go to CJ people because there's so much more. Dalecki had probably 0 because, you know, like if you don't have a major in sociology, you don't have an advisor. But it doesn't affect your pay. But you have time to do scholarly work then shine. I do all my scholarly work, all my work with directed study students. I do it at night. And you can check my email. I have until 11 o'clock midnight. Every weekend I work on these things.
I have no doubt about your work ethic, and absolutely.
But I feel like almost like, for what, you know? I mean, like nothing that I did, trying. It was like, you know, it was Diana Johnson and Diana Cecil, who didn't want to do the crimes now, so visited. So they came up with, oh, we just let the CJA, or Criminal Justice Student Association, do it. He sent out an email to everyone that they had this brilliant idea, and I feel like, great, you know, all this stuff I've ever done, not one note. You know?
Yeah.
It's just, I don't already have a tough stand in my department, because they all think, because Cable said it, I'm a menopausal bitch.
Is that what he said?
That's what he said, yeah.
Well, that sucks.
So
That's terrible.
what we would do in the mediation process in relation to a lot of these things is we would document behaviors that are unacceptable
Like
and
that.
can no longer continue. The name calling, the bullying, the workload issues, the scheduling of courses, you name it. These would come out in the mediation. And then I know part of your concern about verbal communications was that you don't have any kind of proof afterwards. So if you want to hold someone up to it, you can't. At the end of the mediation, John and I would develop a written document that we would submit to you and Mike, that you would both be able to proofread and say, you missed a point, or this is not what I wanted. And then we would come to a consensus about an agreement about what is acceptable and not. Some of this is obviously, in my opinion, it's obvious. Calling someone a bitch of any kind in any department is just, in any context, is inappropriate. But maybe we got to write that down if it's just not clear. And so at the end of this, you would have a protective document, and let us try to help you. I've never had the opportunity to work with you on this before, and I think John has very superficially, but let us try to help you feel more comfortable. But before we go into that, I want to know that you're willing to give that a shot, and that you're okay with my presence there. And then I will schedule it, and we'll see how we proceed. And if at any point in the process you're not comfortable with the way things are going, and typically the way the process works is we would have both you and Mike in the room. We would allow you a chance to talk about your concerns, and then we would start, and you would talk, and you would not be interrupted. You would be able to kind of state what your major concerns were. He would talk. He would not be interrupted. He'd state his major concerns. We would document those, and then we would come up with strategies for how we're going to address those, put those in writing, and submit it. So that's kind of how the process works. Again, there's nothing disciplinary that comes out of that. And you, at any point, if you get uncomfortable with the process, rather than feeling like you had to leave and you were, we ended last time and you were uncomfortable with the ending, you could have called it, you can call it right then and there. If I'm engaging in behavior that makes you uncomfortable, Mike or John, you can call it. And then we'll take a step back. If it means, for example, if I do something that makes you uncomfortable, John, I'll say, John, I think you need to take over mediation. Let me observe for a bit until we feel we can fix the situation. But I want your comfort throughout. And if you don't feel comfortable, then we have to find an alternative way to proceed here. But are you comfortable with me doing that? And I really want to restore trust with you, because I know it's been broken by so many people here. And the last thing I wanted you to do is walk out of that meeting alienated. So my sincere regrets over that situation, and I will work harder to make sure that that doesn't happen to you again.
I just feel like I've been painted as a problem employee, and I have not. I mean, like, this is not my first years of employment, and I've never had anything going on, and I've had very difficult employment situations, and I usually handle it myself. I mean, I'm not just taking, I speak up. I'm getting more vocal when it affects somebody else. I think that was the first time I was K-Word. I took all his sexist things. And I mean, he didn't want to sign contracts for overload in the grad program because he was mad at Dr. Fuller. I mean, I got into a really bad situation where I worked for two bosses. I had two bosses according to my contract, and they hated each other. So I mean, it was just, and I was supposed to pay the side. Dr. Fuller hoped I would see her side and support her, and I was made clear, if you cannot take her side, if you want to talk to her too much, it looks bad near DRB. You know, I just moved my family here, so it's like, it's not like, yeah, screw you, I go somewhere else. So I tried to make it work, but it was, and every time she talked to me and she kind of like was upset about it, said, you know, okay, but it was just like a, you know, like he's like a psychopath in there. And, you know, don't solicit a response from me on that. I can't do that. Or even when Daleki applied twice for our department, by the way, and didn't get through, she said, like, you know, he will be senior to you and he will be just like Cable, he's part of the boys club. It's like, I chaired that at that time. I said, Cheryl, what can I do? I mean, I'm a chair of the search and screen, I want to make it fair. I cannot, you know, I mean, whatever happens, happens, but, you know, like, it has to be fair. If he's the best candidate, then he will be hired. And if it's not the best candidate, then we don't have to worry about it. But it was really, really intense, and I never brought it up. I never kind of did anything. I was called in for when they had the investigation for Cheryl's accusation. And I said, like, you know, and she told them in the LNE office, oh, Sabina will see it the same way. And I actually went in and said, like, no, I'm not. I mean, I'm new here, and there are some issues, but so far he's been treating me fair. I mean, maybe not, you know, I could tell he had a little bit his boys club going. And so I worked with that before. I have a pretty good thick skin to that. It's just like I just work hard and show him. It was just like until he didn't give Amy Nemitz, who still worked at us at that time, any internships in the summer, and he gave them to Bob Roberts, so he switched to sponsor programs. When I said, like, you know, we should give, it's just not fair. And I thought at that time he was somebody I could still talk to, and he did not. He told me flat out, you know, you can go somewhere else to work. But that was not benefit for me, that was for her, and I just felt because she didn't get the job before, and I just checked the search and screen, and she came crying in my office and all that, which was very uncomfortable because Kay would make clear he did not want to be hired. And in fact, of all candidates, he only called up her dissertation and ripped it apart. And like he will be able to support that because he did it again when Amy just reapplied. So, and that's when I wanted to be as fair as possible, even though it's difficult. So I'm not out there like, I don't get 101, I'm complaining. I mean, I didn't get comparative criminal justice course then, and I did not do a fuss. And it wasn't easy to hear the person that was my student in seminar teach about Germany and teaching it incorrectly. It's really hard. I mean, I work with German authorities, Italians, French, British. I mean, that's what you do.
I mean, that's one of the things you bring.
Yeah.
No question. Yeah.
And it's just, what the heck, you know? And I teach police function now, 2 of them, and I wasn't even hired for it. That was Bob Roberts' gig. And I ended up with, and last year, one of the police function was taught by an adjunct with 1 year graduate experience. So, okay, this is what I'm good for. It's fine, you know. And if that's what it is, you know, as long as my daughter will be treated fairly, I'm willing to make the sacrifice. It's just, you know, I'm really at a point where I feel like, you know, how much more fighting do I want to do for what's right? You know, I tried it last time when one student came to me and said, you know, there's a faculty member who sent me the emails and wanted, I said, oh my gosh, she had to come to me, you know, like, great, you know, like, I have to bring this forward.
Took care of that one too.
Yeah, I know, but it was, I didn't want my name to be associated, you know, it was the last thing, you know, and then when the students just feel like, you know, I care about them, and so they come to me, but I'm really, I had another student who had, was sexually harassed at her workplace, and asked what she can do. I mean, it was pretty bad, so I kind of connected her with some legal aid, what she could do. It's like, you know, I'm not giving advice or anything, it's not my position, but I told her, like, you know, there is a window of time when you can bring something forward, and there are people who work these cases on pro bono or so, and I don't know what happened to it, but I get students who come forward and feel like, harassed or rape victims and stuff. I mean, I bring these things up and I want my students to be comfortable in the setting. But when they bring up things with a faculty member and, and now, it makes me, the last case, I did not feel good. I mean, I knew I had to do the right thing, but I had a sleepless night over that. It really stressed me. It's like, it's coming from Britain again.
Well, I won't speak for John, but I'm pretty sure that he echoes these sentiments. I don't view you, nor have I viewed you in the short time we've worked together, as someone who raises a lot of fuss and causes a lot of problems. I view you as a talented person who brings a unique skill set to the department, who has been put in some really terrible situations. And I want to try to remove those situations, and we'll start small and see which pieces we can start fixing, because I don't want you to come into anybody's office because you're afraid to speak the truth, you're afraid to do your work, and that's the kind of thing that we'd like to be able to offer. Protections, recourse, a path for you to follow, and someone that you can speak with, that you trust, to say, I don't know what to do here, or this directly violates what was stated in the mediation that we had. And that's how we'd like to proceed, and it sounds like you're willing to give that a shot.
I see that one thing that probably was viewed the wrong way is when we had a German delegation visiting, and that was a project that Kaywood started actually when I was on sabbatical, and I was supposed to go there and then they would come visit. So I did all that, and I took them over there, and we had a great time. Now for transportation, they wanted me to, because they knew what my background was and my expertise was, they wanted me to give presentations. So I ended up giving 5, and they asked for police intranet, which is part of their in-service training.
Okay.
For salary, they kind of discussed, and I said, because we were still discussing on how transportation would work over there, and they said they could make a bus available for our students, which would really allow them to see most of those things in a most comfortable way. But of course, that's expensive. So I said, how about we do it so that with my honorarium, we can apply that to that, and also apply it for you guys coming over here. So we had, because of my honorarium, we had $6,400 left.
Wow. And
that was in account with international programs. So the school really did not pay anything for their visit. It was pretty much all transportation and other things were taken out. Now, for some reason, I was assumed that I would be in charge 100% of that. And I did not, because I did overload and a whole bunch of other stuff, I did not really pay much attention to the German delegation planning. And somehow we have international programs, and in Germany they had the international center who would take care of it. So I kind of assumed, they would eventually kick in. That's their thing. Also, like in fall 2013, Deb Rice, one of our staff members, had a student do a directed study on walking on the itinerary. I never saw the finished product, but I thought that was kind of like what they're working with. He showed it to me. One time he came to my office and asked for some input, and I said, those are maybe places that we want to include. But that was the last I heard, and the student's name was Alex Marsh. I know him quite well. He actually traveled with us over there, but he worked with Deb Rice. And then we had, after submitting grades and everything, I just knew I had to see my mom. It was for her big surgery, and I went there. And I really timed it, so I didn't really have much time to kind of make arrangements. I knew they had a place to stay. I kind of worked on this. So I did work as much as possible. I just didn't feel like I was the one in charge and it was all on me. And I come back, and then a few days later, I hear that, I got a call from the hospital. She told me, Mikey, she has internal bleeding. She's in the ICU. Her brain is affected, so it's all that. In the same time, my brother was diagnosed with, type 1 diabetes, and he was in a coma. My sister had a second heart attack. It was just, So I was on the phone for 3 to 4 hours every day with Germany making arrangements for her. And I had to be, and they said, you don't have to come yet. They have family here, so my kids kind of are very dependent on me in this regard. So they said, we will let you know if you can come, if you have to come, otherwise you can do everything over the phone. So, but I told Mike, this is on you, I can't handle this. And he told everyone, I dumped my guests on him. Now, they were officially guests of the university. They were invited by Donna Anderson International Programs, and he signed 2 And I was the last person CC'd out of 5 people CC'd on that document and there's invitation. They were not my guests. And I really kind of took a bit of offense to that, you know, like that's expected for 10 days. I babysit them from A to Z without release time, without pay. I mean, I have internships this summer and I have an online class. And those are things that I've signed a contract for, and this is my number one, just like during regular semester. Anything else, anything that has to do with me, you know, comes second. My students come first. This is my contract, this is what I fulfill. And I was really kind of upset, and I said, like, you know, I have the money there too, and I didn't get any credit that this was all my money. And I spent it, and I wanted to go, I was invited to, I don't know, and I sent to the breakfast, to orientation breakfast, and I actually wanted to give a presentation, introduction to the American criminal justice system. But the lucky took them somewhere else and didn't notify me, even though he knew that I wanted to be there. And the breakfast was paid with the money that I set aside. And then he took them shooting, which is extremely expensive, but it's not great, they have a good time and everything. Then I still had the presentation. He scheduled me for Sunday at 7 p.m. with 2 other students. And when at the welcome lunch, I mean the goodbye luncheon, when I said, like, you know, I want to be there because I actually worked with 2 of those instructors on a program that we can do integrate international education in one of my courses. You know, try to kind of meet, and it was really impossible. He never included me in anything, even though I said, like, hey, if I'm here, I want to help. But I may have to leave like this.
I remember those emails.
And he introduced everybody but me to the Chancellor, even though he was there, because I greeted him. And later on, the German delegation pulled me aside and said, so what the heck is going on between you? I mean, they noticed the hostility. That's a little embarrassing.
I'm sure.
I mean, what do you want to tell them? Oh, you know, sorry, I'm at the bottom pole of all the employees in my program. The boss doesn't particularly like me. I mean, I didn't like that, but it's just like, you know, they asked, this is, come on, more police, if you pick up on these things. Because at first they're like, no, nothing, what lethal stress resistance operation. No, that's not it. So they wanted to know. And, you know, I tried to help. I really tried to do what I could, but I was stressed out. I mean, I really was on the phone for hours every day. And with the time change, this is the best time for me to call. It's really like in the morning until the early afternoon. And he never assigned it to me formally. He never did. Maybe he thought it was. Maybe it was a bit misunderstanding. That can happen. But I was an extremely stressful time for me. And it's a full-time job. And I asked, why can we give that to Kaywood? Even Joe Lomax said, Kaywood is a 12-month appointment, and Kaywood actually initiated it. No, we can't ask Kaywood. Why not? We pay him great money for doing nothing? No, we couldn't touch Kaywood. And that was kind of upsetting because I think he could have done a good job. He doesn't want to hurt the department. I don't think like Haywood is the worst person in the world or anything. There were 2 male instructors anyway, so there were some very cute females there. We probably would have enjoyed showing them around.
Maybe it was best we avoided
Probably
that.
best, yeah.
Well, they are police cadets.
Yeah, they can handle
it.
So.
But, yeah, he could. I mean, he has connections. He's been working here for, I don't know, almost 20 years.
I'm sorry you had such a stressful summer. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just very emotional.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, I'm the bad one again. I had that Bryce calling me up and cussing at me on the phone and calling me lazy and greedy.
You're kidding.
Because, yeah, but you spent $6,400 of mine that I did not ask.
You're like one of the least lazy people I know.
Yeah, that's hard. You know, and I called her up because the lady sent out the email thanking her. She put 16 hours in. What wonderful work. I thought, well, great, you know, I've put in way more time, but it's fine, you know. I called her up to thank her. I got her up to, hey, thanks for kind of stepping in, and I have these family issues right now.
That's when she
And that's when she went off, and how dare you put this on Daleki and dump your friends, and da-da-da-da.
Wow.
I didn't want to argue with her, but I said, like, after she kind of accosted me and called me, I said, okay, I'm done talking. And I took her and her husband to Germany on that trip, you know, and she had benefited greatly from my connections, so, and she didn't have to do anything there.
I think we've got plenty to address.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are a little bit difficult department, aren't we? Even though we have really great
You have a
people there.
lot to offer our students, and I really hope you won't give up.
Yeah.
I mean, you know I've been a big fan.
Yeah, well, I probably will have to take a break because honestly, health-wise, I'm not doing very well. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm on so many medications right now, and it changed again anyway. I have sleep disorders. I have the tension headaches have become chronic, so I've been working with that.
Oh.
And I have, I've always had a sensitive stomach, so in the moment I can't even keep any food down. So it's just really it's just a lot. And I wonder, like, I've never ever in my life been on medication or sex abuse cases and, steroid cases. So I felt like, hey, I could handle that. I had one time where I had to take some leave after a pretty nasty serial killer case and I had to witness kids. They were locked up and starved to death, and after that I had some not so good nights, and so the work gave me some relief after that. But that was the only time when you need to shrink a few times to work you through that, and then okay. But I feel like what the heck, I should be able to handle this. But in the moment I'm really, I lost my dad last year. I couldn't be there for him. It's just.
And with all of the things that you just shared with us, and thank you for sharing them, if everything here was going perfectly, if there were no problems here, you still should feel an enormous amount of stress. Just the fact that you're dealing with so many family health issues and they're so far away. There's a power thing going on here. You can't control a lot of things, and the phone is your only way. And you mentioned it has to start at 4 o'clock in the morning because that's when you can get on the phone. So you're exhausted. So let us try to help you lift the burden of here. We can't lift those other burdens for you, but what we can offer is our best attempt to try to make some of these pieces better. In hearing all of these issues and reading the documents you provided, I understand why trust that this is going to work would be a really difficult process, but let's give it a whirl and let's see. And again, if at any point you're just like, I'm not into it, this isn't working, or this is just more harmful than good, we'll stop.
I mean, I tried mediation before with Kayla and it didn't work. He wouldn't want to come in. And I tell you, I'm not very comfortable that I had to file. I filed on the last day possible, but I really was out of options.
Yeah.
That was the very last day.
It's okay with me.
And if that's the best course of action?
It was just not me. I felt like, this is something what other people do, so you work things out. And it was extremely frustrating when you can't even, and I get it's like, well, he doesn't want to come in. Well, can't you make him, at least make him just like, dog. I even suggested, he won't respond very well to a female in power. So can you find a male person because he probably would respond better? I mean, it's okay with I was okay with that. I don't care as long as he talks. So for criminal, we have people here who are in higher positions, and he probably would respond better.
Well, we're different people than you had before.
Right.
So maybe you'll get a different result.
Thanks.
Well, if nothing else, I am the first one to say it is within your rights to exercise the following methods with filing complaints, grievances, whether they be with us, they be outside of the institution, because the institution isn't responding effectively, even if I'm a part of that process. I've had employees who I was trying to help them through the process, and they just weren't getting it. And they said, look, and I would say, okay, here are your options. And if that's the best course of options that we need to go in another situation, I would encourage any employee to do that. That's your right to do so. So, but let's give this a whirl. I'm really glad that you came today and that we could talk a little bit further, and we'll see how this goes. And we'll see how we need to proceed. We'll take it one meeting at a time, and we'll make sure that you're comfortable. And you also have the right, as you did in last time, to say, I was comfortable in the meeting, and then I got to thinking, and then I got uncomfortable, and then we can continue to have those kinds of conversations if that should happen again. I want you to know that you have a place to talk.
And I kept all my interaction with him under 5 lines. He went over 3 times.
Really?
I did, yeah. I didn't call him on it. I said, no, I'm not.
Good for you. I appreciate you doing that.
I said, I'm not. But I noticed he went over.
I appreciate you following that.
Yeah.
Because I know you walked out of that meeting frustrated, so.
I was sitting there, how can I put this in there? And I wanted to sound confrontational, but I want him to understand this is kind of really important to me. Please reconsider, And, to think I would be bad to mentor Valerie Stackman, I mean, like, the reason that I got her here, and it wasn't under easy conditions because they were in a transition and all that, but I knew she was good. She came from a department that had problems too, so it's not like that she would be shocked and this, we're moving forward, moving in the right direction, and we have enough good people who really care. And
you've got rid of a few.
Yeah. But,
I mean, a few that needed.
Yeah. And I'm not saying I'm the best mentor out there, but I make a great effort, and I think for her it probably will be good. I mean, that he has plenty of his plate anyway. And the only course that he taught last semester was sustainable energy. He hasn't even taught in CJ ever. So I feel like I've been here now since 2009 and taught, usually 5 courses, so I'm very familiar with how things work, and I had to prepare for our DRB. He had a different DRB, so I don't think, I don't think what he fears I would do, I don't want to poison. I mean, like, Fuller tried to get me on her side, and I know how painful I was being in between when you're new, and told her, like, I gotta figure things out for myself. I went through 2 talks about the whole Dutel Kaywood mess, and I basically told them, like, hey, I'm an outsider, I'm still new here, I don't know, I can't really say. And I would never want to put that on her. It's not her battle to fight. I want her to do well. I want her to focus on students, that's what we need. I think she has a very, very interesting perspective.
So, on a separate note, with your daughter, we have a very good dean of students who's very proactive. And if you have any problems at all, please, you can let me know, or Jen know, or Sherry Nevins. I mean, I think she would be very responsive to any problems your daughter would have.
And she's doing really well. She's in the dean's list. She's in the marching band. She loves it here. She's just, she needs its kind of structures, and she strives in it. It's just like, we've been trying to keep this away from our kids, but for her, this is home now. And we mentioned, like, moving or anything, and she just, like, shut down. She just does not want to consider moving. And I'm not, she started here as 17-year-old, so she started a year early, so she's still really a youngster. She's not so where to say, like, you can just, and I can't leave her in the dorms either, because she has some motions that she does to kind of calm herself down, or so that she could easily annoy somebody else, and there wouldn't be as understanding, so I'm more comfortable kind of having her still with us. She's so young.
Well, the fact that she came here so young, she's really high functioning. She must be kind of brilliant.
Yeah, she really is. Yeah. I mean, she does 18 credits and
it's phenomenal. And does marching band. I mean, that's not a small time commitment.
Marching band and concert band, and so
that's fabulous. That's fabulous. So.
What's her first name?
Eleanor. Actually, we call her Sophie, but she's Eleanor Sophia, and she goes by Eleanor here now.
Because I had a Burton in my class.
Oh, okay.
Classes, but I don't think it was your daughter.
Well, I want to be respectful of your time. I appreciate you coming in. The next time you hear from us, it will be to schedule a meeting with Mike.
Okay.
I will try to keep the meetings to an hour, because I think, perspective of